774 ABC Melbourne, ABC Victoria. It's 11 to 3. I have in my hands the most glorious book. It is as close as you'll ever get to going on safari in Africa without actually leaving your chair. Beautiful photographs taken of amazing animals in their natural state, kinda sorta. There's a kinda sorta because there's a trade-off on safari. They've seen you before, mostly. But pretty much in their natural state. Sitting, I think in Sydney, I'm going to say Perth, in Perth, is one of the creators of this book, Kym Illman. Hi, Kym.
Richard, hello.
Beautiful book. Wow, congratulations.
It's a ripper.
It is a ripper, and what I liked about it, it's the text is all about how to take these photos as well. There's a little bit of behind-the-scenes magic that you share. I mean, some of these shots are just amazing. I know it's visual, but there's a great shot of a warthog, which doesn't seem like a special thing, but warthogs are really hard to get good shots of.
Well, normally they're running away from you, almost always.
How did the book come about?
Well, my wife had, for the best part of 20 years, tried to get me to go on a safari, and I always said no. She'd been on one in her 20s, and eventually she booked 4 airfares for my 2 kids and she and I, and she said, right, you arrange the ground content. So I bought a few books on wildlife photography, because I'm a pretty good photographer. I was back 3 years ago. And then I thought, no, we're not going to stop in South Africa. We'll go further afield. We'll head to Kenya and Tanzania. So we did that first safari, and from that first morning that I saw 9 lions on the road on our very first drive, I was hooked. So as soon as we got back from that trip, because I thought we'd done really great and we're really great photographers, until I had a look at another book by Alex Bernasconi, and I thought, geez, I'm hopeless, really. When I look at what this guy's done, he's got a whole book full of them. So as soon as we got back, I booked another safari for 8 weeks' time. And then over a 2.5-year period, we went on 13 safaris, and every trip our photographs just improved out of sight. And halfway through the journey, we thought, hey, let's do a book. Let's see if we can get enough quality photos to do a book. We got the photos, we found a publisher, National Geographic picked it up for Germany, and now it's available here in Australia.
One of the great things about it, as I said, these shots are just amazing and beautiful, but they're also got detail, so that if you're an aficionado, if you're someone who wants to take photographs, it gives you the detail. Like there's a great helicopter shot of an elephant out on its little island, and as it talks about, photography from a helicopter requires a fast shutter speed to overcome the vibrations from the aircraft. The 300mm f/28 2.8 lens was ideal for this shot, resulting in a 1.3 second shutter speed. So detail there about how to do it. What a great combination of things. What made you think, oh, I'm going to show how the rabbit gets in the hat?
Well, for so long I'd looked at these photos and I'm thinking, how do you get that photo where it's obviously dusk but there's light on the animal? And so I'd ask all my photographic mates and they'd tell me, and then I thought, well, I'm not doing this for a living. I've got an audio production company, so why don't I share some of the secrets? We went and got ourselves a remote controlled buggy. We mounted a camera on it, and then we drove it out and we left it in spots, and lions would come towards it. So for those shots, you get these amazing low-angle, wide-angle shots of animals looking directly down into the lens. Now, you don't get that very often. It's very rare to get that low-angle shot where the animal's
head's bigger. I'm looking at one right
bigger.
now. There's 4 lion cubs all staring at what is obviously the buggy, and beautiful close-up. And you're right, as you write in the book, most of the shots we see are taken from a slightly up. You're on the back of the vehicle that you're saying safely in to get your shot. But a lot of these are down low. A lot of them are from above, obviously from helicopters, but down low. And didn't you put a camera in dung as well?
Well, yeah, we rolled up at a camp, and the woman said that was managing it, oh, there's a dead zebra out there, and he died last night of natural causes. So we buried a camera in dung so that the cars that drove past on the road couldn't see it. All they saw was a dung heap. And then it took a photo every 2 seconds while we went off and did a game drive. When we came back, I saw a leopard running away at dusk, and I thought, wow, if this camera's still on, we may have got that. Of course, I picked the camera up and the battery's dead, but it had come earlier in the afternoon while the camera was running, as did jackals, as did vultures, and we got this tremendous series of probably over 800 photos of what's gone on while there were no humans around, and that's almost impossible to get.
So I'm conflicted, because that's awesome. You've got images of the animals in their natural state, but did you really take the photo? You just set motor drive and the camera took the photo.
Well, I took it more than you took it.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. At what
That's
stage,
right.
where's the line? Or does it not matter? You're just capturing shots in the wild, however you get them.
Well, that was a rarity. Most of the time, there's a conscious decision to flick the shutter, whether it's on the remote control of the buggy, which the remote control I sit with and drive the buggy, and then I flick the camera, or whether I physically, or Tonya, my wife, who's also an integral part of the team, whether she takes the photo. But I think what's interesting about this book is that there's 6 countries visited. There's almost every animal, many birds, obviously included. So it's perhaps a wider range than you'd normally get in a wildlife book.
Just beautiful. I cannot stress enough the beautiful work that Tonya and Kym have done in their photos and the production of the book. How did you get the book produced? Was it hard to sell in?
Well, this is the bizarre story because I'm not a known photographer. So I approached the people that produced this other book, Wild Africa by Alex Bernasconi, and I sent her, Alexandra, who runs that particular publishing house, a 6-foot giraffe, and you've seen that giraffe. And it's personalised, so it has a speech bubble, and I saw 2 days after Alexandra got it on her Instagram, I think it was, the best book submission ever. So at that point, I figured I'm a chance. And then she took the book to the Frankfurt Book Fair in October last year, managed to get National Geographic to say yes. So at that point, it was a goer. And then we had, well, from there until about 2 weeks ago when we launched it in London, a whole lot of work leading up to it to make sure the book was perfect. And there was a lot of toing and froing, and the actual publishers in London and the designers in New York, and we're in Perth. So it's a real effort.
When you do a book like this, and you've been capturing these amazing images of Africa, is there talk about the subject matter? Because death is a part of life, and there are shots in this book that are quite confronting. There are shots of prey being pulled down. There's shots of male lions eating lion cubs.
Yep.
There's all kinds of shots like that. So is there much discussion among the book folk in that team you just spoke of about what will be included and what can't, and what people will like to see and what they won't?
The 2 photos that you refer to there, well, actually said there's also gazelle being chased by a jackal giving birth. There was never any conversation about those, but there was one shot that we took out, and it was on a walking safari in Zimbabwe. I was standing behind my guide, and he's got a gun drawn at an elephant. He's talking it away, but he has to have the gun drawn just in case this thing charges. And it's only 9 metres from us, but of course if it gets to 3, well then he's got to set the gun off. But she said, no, we can't put that in. That will create too many dramas. You'll have too many questions about it. And that was the only one that we didn't get in that we really wanted.
Yeah, really interesting. I've got lots of SMSs, including there are people who still get excited about filming animals. Get a life. Fascinating. Try to explain to someone what it's like to be close enough to take photos of these animals in the wild.
Well, let me tell you, on my last trip to Zimbabwe, we were on foot, and a female lion that was feeding rushed us, and it came at us at speed, and I can tell it stopped about 10 metres away in a cloud of dust, and there's nothing that gets your heart racing like that. You know that you are alive when that happens. And even when a herd of elephants, 5 or 6 elephants, brush past your car, and you could put your hand out and touch one, and you just sit there deathly still, that's a rare thing in life. You don't get that doing your office job, sitting on radio,
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my word!
There's so many beautiful photos. One of which is the shot of the cheetah up close and personal. You shot, according to this, at close quarters with a wide-angle lens. That's the kind of amazing photo that you just don't see anywhere else.
They're very rare, and to get that wide-angle shot, and it's hard to explain to people who aren't photographic people, but there's a real different look when you use a wide-angle lens, and you get to see a whole lot more detail, because that lens was probably in the order of 10 centimetres from that cheetah's face.
Just amazing experience. Kym, congratulations. The book is breathtaking. Africa on Safari is the name of the book. Is there a website? Is there anything like that we can view images as well?
Go to Kym Illman, Kym with a Y or an I, doesn't matter, KymIllman.com, and I've put up a whole lot of behind-the-scenes vision. You can also see the specs for all the photographs there, so if you think, what shutter speeds are used for that, you can find out that. You can see some behind-the-scenes videos and a whole lot of images, free of charge.
If you love beautiful images, you'll love the book and the website. If you're a camera nerd and you want the detail, you'll love that as well. Kym, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much. The book is beautiful.
And thanks for your enthusiasm.